Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 32, Sins of the Child, part 5. And I'm excited to be talking about this one. It's the end of this story, and it's been a great story. I forgot how great this arc was, how well constructed these issue-by-issue chapters were written, and everything. I've been gushing about it, but I'm going to gush a little bit more. And we're going to talk about Starman's adventure in All-Star Comics 10 at the end of this episode. Let's start with Starman Volume 2, Issue 16, and get some data from the Grand Comic Book Database. This comic was put on sale the 28th of December, 1995. It is Sins of the Child Part 505. The ink, another beautiful cover by Tony Harris, pencils, inks, and colors with Jack and Mist on it. It's just a stunner. This book has been reprinted 4 times in Starman, issue number 3 of a Italian comic, and then there was Starman Volume 2, Night and Day. Published in 1997, the Starman Omnibus, published in 2008. That is the hardcover version, which I am reading it in, and it was also reprinted in 2012 in the Starman Omnibus softcover, and it has now been in the compendium, which I have next to me because I put my Volume 1 Omni back on the shelf as I pulled out 2 to do some prep for an episode I already recorded with David. So, but that's something else. Well, let's get started. This is Sins of the Child Part 5, Jack's Day, the second half. Script by James Robinson, pencils by Tony Harris, inks by Wayne Von Grawbadger, colors by the amazing Gregory Wright, letters by Bill Oakley. Main characters: Starman Jack Knight, Mist, Nash, Ted Knight, Clarence O'Dare, Faith O'Dare introduction, Matt O'Dare, Michael Thomas, Solomon Grundy, Dr. Phosphorus, The Shade, Barry O'Dare, Mason O'Dare, and Hope O'Dare. Also, the synopsis. This is the complete synopsis from the Grand Comic Book Database. Starman defeats the Mist, though cannot capture her. Which I think is very funny, and that's not the best synopsis, but we're going to go through this like I have with all the other issues, bit by bit. It starts with Jack where we last saw him cornered by 4 of Shade's goons, and it's got a great introduction. Let's do the first page narration. It was a good day, at least when it started. But that starting came and went, as did 12 p.m. when it all was going to change. And change it did. For everyone and for Jack. Now, everything is bedlam, dire, brimstone dark. Jack can feel a bead of sweat running down the cleft of his shoulder blade in spite of his dilemma. He's distracted by the pearl drop's lazy descent. At 10:03 p.m., 2 days from now, Jack will look back on what he did, cornered like a badger with no hope, with a father who might be dead or dying. Jack would look back on what he did. He'll realize that this was some kind of turning point in his life. Jack will look back at what he did, but not remember very much of doing it. People talk about death and having an out-of-body experiences. Yeah, I'm in danger, but my heart still beats, my body still aches with pain and life. Life, I live, and yet I'm outside all of it, says Jack. And then it just goes into that, and it's him. This is the moment where Jack becomes a superhero in a lot of ways, because he battles these 4 guys. It takes 3 pages. In his narration, he's just talking about what he's overcoming to and then he starts Robinson writes, he starts talking about what his biggest things before were, and about this Philco Predicta television, and how he found a lot of them. A lot, like meaning a batch of them. And how they were, who collected them and why, and how he sold them, and all this thing about what it was. And at the end of this is like 5 pages in, he's thinking, stuff, I sell stuff, I collect famous people I admire, and then I realize where I am, the end of the line. So through all that, he's telling you this great story, and I'm not going to read it all. It's just, I think it's this wonderful narration. It goes along with an incredibly well choreographed fight that Tony Harris should be applauded for, and it ends up, and we're in a Dick Sprang Bat Joker hideout almost, when Jack gets to where, he's been chasing his clothes, getting his stuff in his leather jacket, and his staff are there, and he gets them on, and it's beautifully drawn, and then it's a giant Jack in the Box, these giant stuffed animals, and then Nash comes in, and they just have a conversation. He finds out his dad's alive, and she just picked phosphorus. It was a distraction in a way. And how she's not ready to have this final battle to kill him. They both still need to work their way into their new mantles of Starman and the Mist. And it's great. And I really don't want to go into too much detail because I hope you read it. It works in every way. It really creates a fully formed character in Nash. She has her issues. But I think she's more than just a wahaha villain, and it's just great. And then she turns in, Mist goes away, and then we get to the aftermath in the city. Everything's getting back to normal. We see the oldest Adair kissing his wife. We see Ted in his observatory. We see the crooked Mason patching himself. We find out that Mikaal and Soloman Grundy survived the explosion. Nash is on her way out. Phosphorus is pissed, and the O'Dares in the shade have become a team. And then we cut back to Jack. And it's just the last page, and the last two pages, it's got shade on the top and then two panels with Jack. And the final panel is Jack on a rooftop next to a statue of a winged warrior on a horse, just being Starman. And it's really end of Act 1. It's end of Act 1 in Jack's story. It is beautifully done. It is stunningly drawn. And I really think if you're not reading it, or you've never read it, and you just kind of listen along for the podcast for my ramblings, or because you like the Legion one or you like the other ones, but you haven't read Starman, please just go read it. You'll love it. It's just amazing. This story is stunning. Stunning. But so that it was... there's not a lot of talk. I mean, I could go into the details of what they were talking about, Nash and him, but I think you got to read it. I really do. I just think, but it is half fight scene, half conversation. It is incredibly wordy. I think but I think it's that kind of wordy where it just works. It just works. It's reason why Robinson, when he is firing all cylinders, I think he's one of my favorite comic writers. There's stuff of his I don't like, but man, there's stuff of his that I love, and stuff of his that I've not read and I know other people love. And I just think he's really he's getting better and better as he goes along. So let's cut back to All-Star Comics 10 for Ted Starman. This was published on the 21st of February, 1942. Editor was M.C. Gaines. Sheldon Mayer was the assistant editor. The cover was by E.E. Hibbard. The characters are Justice Society of America. Roll call is, hold on, I'm using a different reference book today. I'm going to use my All-Star Companion because it's, I just had it off the shelf and I hadn't used it. So, roll call: Hawkman, Dr. Midnight, Dr. Fate, Sandman, Starman, the Atom, Johnny Thunder, the Spectre, Honorary Superman, Batman, Flash, and Green Lantern also appear in this one. It's written by Gardner Fox. The artists are, and I need to look at two things to get it. E. Hibbard does the JSA. Sheldon Maldorf does Hawkman. JSA Interlude is Hibbard. Sandman is, I'm not sure, Cliff Young. The Atom is Ben Finton pencils. Jack Burnley doing the pencils for Starman. Howard Sherman does Dr. Fate. Dr. Midnight is Stan Osh. And Spectre is Bernard Bailey. Stan Osh does the end section. And then Hibber. Oshmeyer. I'm sorry, it's Johnny Thunder's Osh. It's Oshmeyer. And Hibbert does the end. The synopsis: a trio of JSAers capture fifth colonists who attack a group of scientists working to make the U.S. impervious to enemy bombers. Invented by one of the scientists, the JSA traveled to the year 2442 to locate an airtight defense system. Green Lantern Flash protect the scientists in 1941 while the others are gone. When regular JSAers return to the present with the formula for the defense system, the scientists use it to develop a beam of force. Some historical notes that are here in the All-Star Comic Premium. The term fifth colonist originated in the Spanish Civil War in 1936 to 1939 when General Francisco Franco was asked which of his four columns his soldiers captured Madrid, and he replied it would be the fifth column, sympathizers within the city that would bring him victory. The term soon came to stand for secret sympathizers of any cause, burrowers from within. Oddities and enigmas. Hawkman's tights are flesh-colored on the cover, for which he is the most prominent feature. The scientist who developed the time ray has no name in number 10. He will reappear in 21, called Professor Everson. This is the first use of flying belts, a 25th century setting where the comic strip Buck Rogers, which debuted in 1929. This issue's editorial page features a message in Superman of America code. This is JSA in transition. Sandman wears his purple costume for the first time in this book, designed by artist Phil Norris, not by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, as officers credited. I did not know that. From which is first seen in Adventure Comics 69, December 1941. In January, in the JSA chapters of 10, it has a cape in his solo segment. It does not, reflecting streamlining by S&K when they took over the strip in Adventure Comics 72, March 1942. Golden Age notes: two time travel related scientists who appear in All-Star 35, Professor Z and his assistant Per Degaton, will retroactively stated in the 1980s All-Star Squadron to have been part of issue 10's bomb defense group. 2 pages All-Star Squadron 2 will recap All-Star Comics 10. This was reprinted in Archives Volume 2, which is what I was reading it in. This one, okay, we're going to Golden Age against modern comics thing. This one was a little, I liked it. But it's I'm really starting to like Hibbert's art a bit more. I think the framing sequence looks good. It's a very Golden Age style, but it was neat to see everybody, and then to have Flash and Green Lantern come back. That in the future, everybody wears red tights, tight purple t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, cowboy hats, yellow boots, and yellow wings. It is not a very good fashion statement. Everybody remembers the Justice League. The Justice Society, 400 years in the future. And we just do the jumping around. The Hawkman one's a little longer than the rest. It's really beautiful Sheldon Moldoff art. Then we have the interlude when he brings him back the flying belts. The person, Young, doing his best Simon and Kirby ripoff art on Sandman. I do not like the purple and yellow costume, but I don't mind it seeing it in Kirby. Adam got a nice little one. His art's a little rushed, a little rough, but it's fun. We haven't got to Ted. Ted's next. And then Ted. This is some weird Jack Burnley. Really looks a little less like him. I think he's really kind of mimicking some of the other people, maybe, when it comes to it. But Ted goes to a city in a tree. He is met by the people. They put him through, the defenders of the city put him through a test where they take away his cosmic rod, put him in a glass ball at the end of a chain, and he has to swing, smash the glass, land on a trampoline, and catapult himself into a city, which he does, and he smashes through a window. He overcomes the guards. He finds his part of the formula. He gets away. He's chased by one of the cowboys with wings. He steals one of their wings, and he flies off. It's fun. It's a very It's a very Flash Gordon kind of story. I say how I think he reminds me of Alex Raymond sometimes. But it's just a fun. It's not what you would see in his comic. It is the most different kind of adventure that I've seen Ted drawn by Jack Burnley, because his are pretty straightforward fighting bad guys. But it was fun. It was entertaining. This is my favorite All-Star comic. It was okay. Some of these, the Flight to Venus bugs me a little bit. Doesn't bug me, just I'm not engaged. But I'm out through Volume 2. We'll be into Volume 3, but we'll be back to Adventure Comics. I have recorded a few comics. You folks, when you're listening to this, you'll realize that we missed a week. I've taken an interim position at work. I have more to do. We're still short-staffed. I've got people coming in finally, though. And so I just had to I couldn't do any recording this week. Just a lot going on. So it's a late on Saturday night. Me and my wife watched the movie. I'm sitting here staying up because I've got 2 days off. I'm not on call. And I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm going to record with Ron tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. But I want to get Tuesdays out of the way so I can edit, the posting and all that fun stuff that takes sometimes more time than recording the episode does, and get this up. But I've enjoyed it. But I recorded David a time pass, and David with 2 little mini time pass added on. He came up with a great idea for an episode, and we're going to record that. I have a special guest coming up next week with the next Starman, Will Payton story. And I'm really looking forward to that conversation. I just read the comics today. So we're back on track. I'm hoping to tomorrow record Thursday's Legion, and I will have posted something this weekend. I just haven't decided. I got some comics I've read. I may talk about them this weekend, but I'm gonna get an episode up tomorrow on Sunday, which you have already listened to, because it would be the episode before this. All right, folks. But as always, hey, you be safe, you be smart, be kind to one another, and read some comics. Read some Al Ewing comics, and you'll find out why. You'll understand why. Because I just made a decision what I'm going to be talking about. The Saturday, this weekend's Pass episode, which you will listen to already. All right, be good.